Coming up on Big Country Politics, with less than a week left until Election Day, the race heats up in the runoff election for Place 2 seat on the Abilene City Council, and big obstacles in the way for the owners of this big Abilene home. How the problem is all around them.
And now, from your local election headquarters, the only locally produced political talk show discussing the issues that matter to you. This is Big Country Politics on KTAB.
Thanks for being here for this week's edition of Big Country Politics. I'm Victor Sotelo. Let's get straight into the political headlines across the nation, state, and the Big Country. Early voting for Abilene's City Council runoff election is officially underway. Voters will decide if incumbent Bruce Kreitler will keep his Place 2 seat or on the council, or his opponent Jack Rentz will move into the role. During the May municipal election, Rentz received 38% of the votes. Kreitler with 35%. A candidate must earn more than 50% of the vote to win. We spoke with McMurray political science professor who breaks down this runoff election for us from your KTAB, your local elections headquarters.
While many are enjoying the start of summer break, there are two men busy at work.
Well, as a candidate, your first job is to motivate your volunteers, your help, and say, we did it once, we got to do it again.
Incumbent Bruce Kreitler and his opponent, Jack Rentz, are back for round two.
Jack Rentz has to remind people that they haven't won yet, and Bruce Kreitler has to remind people they haven't lost yet.
And getting those voters out during the summer, Dr. Paul Fabrizio says, can be a challenge.
I voted this morning. It took like 30 seconds. It's so quick, so easy to do, but it's so easy to forget about it.
It's why he feels both Kreitler and Rentz are ramping it up when it comes to campaigning.
Both campaigns are charged up again, but will that translate into getting people to go out and vote?
Dr. Fabrizio says both candidates have some similarities but have differences when it comes to city officials.
Jack Rentz, in the end, really trusts city officials, and he really wants to move things forward. Bruce Kreitler, in the end, really has questions for city officials. And while he wants to move us, he says, no, we need to think about how we're doing things and how much things are going to cost. And it's not that Jack Rentz isn't concerned about cost or process, but he is more focused on just getting stuff done. Bruce Kreitler still is concerned about the process of getting things done.
And a big factor in this runoff election, who will former candidate Alex Russell's supporters vote for?
What are they going to do? Because they conceivably could be the difference
on who will take Place 2 come June 16th.
All right, thank you, Stacy. And early voting ends this Tuesday, June 12th. And for a full list of polling locations, visit the KTAB website at homepage.com. All right, keeping an eye on Texas for you, Governor Greg Abbott says the state is working every day to be ready for another hurricane season. Abbott joined the President, Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, and other governors Wednesday to talk about hurricane preparedness. This comes after a devastating 2017 with Hurricane Harvey and other natural disasters across the country. One area of focus was how FEMA can better respond if there's another storm as big as Hurricane Harvey that hit Texas.
They will have FEMA staff pre-deployed to the state of Texas in the event that it looks like a storm will be heading our way.
Abbott says state emergency officials are also working with local governments to coordinate areas that Texans can evacuate to during disasters, as well as communication plans. Okay, keeping an eye on the Lone Star State, a Texas congressman is fighting to make sure all veterans get life-saving organ transplants they need without having to cut through red tape. Army veteran Charles Nelson needed a second kidney transplant 2 years ago and learned his son was a match. They wanted the procedure done at a community facility, but the VA wouldn't cover it because his son wasn't a veteran. Congressman John Carter's proposal would change this policy. It was added to a larger bill the president signed into law on Wednesday morning.
When I heard this story, I thought that was crazy. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about transplants, but I know enough to know that if you can get one from somebody that is directly related to you, you have a whole lot better chance of survival.
And Congressman Carter says funding for this coverage will come through the appropriations package. All right, back over to Abilene. Working his way up through the ranks, a 26-year veteran of the Abilene Fire Department is now the chief. Candy Flores has been with the fire department for 26 years and previously served as the deputy fire chief. Flores began his position as fire chief on June 1st after former fire chief Larry Bell retired from the department. Flores says he never imagined being named chief, but is looking forward to growing the department and leading his team of almost 180 firefighters.
As a deputy chief, I've helped shape this department. As a fire chief, I hope to bring us even farther forward. We have a lot of plans going forward. We're looking at expansion. We're looking at new technologies. We're looking at becoming even stronger as a department.
Congratulations to Chief Flores. Flores is the first Hispanic to serve as Abilene Fire Chief. Well, buses in Abilene are going where no CityLink vehicles have gone before this after changes into effect last Monday. The goal of the new routes is to reduce the number of CityLink stops in Abilene while adding new destinations for riders like the Hendrick Medical Center campus on Buffalo Gap Road, the Abilene Zoo, and the 5 Points Business Park. The changes were approved in April. There's now an on-demand option for riders to schedule pickups when traveling in South Abilene. And the change in routes isn't the only new thing to the Key City. There's a new nose in town. The zoo introduced their giant anteater exhibit on Thursday. This is the final zoo project of the Proposition 5 in the 2015 City of Abilene Bond Project, and guess what? You could even take one of the new bus routes, CityLink buses, to the zoo to see that anteater. And some changes could be coming to South Abilene Mansion, now vacant, but many residents in the area are not happy about it. The homeowners are requesting a zoning change for their property on the 900 block of Highland Avenue. Knowing there were concerned, the homeowners asked to keep the issue on the table for now. KTAB's Claire Kreitz has more.
This home deserves to be a family home with children running through it and loving it.
Known either as the Fulweiler House or the Schultz House.
It has a tradition of having families that have wonderful children here.
It has a rich history with lots of memories.
It had a trampoline in the backyard. We used to go jumping on it. We played up there in that room that was right there to the right. She had a beautiful dollhouse.
We raised our kids there. People before us raised their kids there. That house has had many children grow up in it, and that's what it needs to be.
But the new owners of the home want to move in a law office and use the spare rooms to stay during the weekends. To do this, however, they would have to rezone the property.
I was shocked. Absolutely floored.
Proposing the property be rezoned to mixed-use zoning, neighbors have their concerns.
When it's your business, I don't think you're as interested in the founding fathers of Abilene and how they planned the neighborhood to be. So we'd just really rather it be a home.
Changing this house to mixed zoning would change basically the heart of this neighborhood, which is not what anybody here wants to do.
The homeowners say they want the most restrictive zoning possible for the house and want to work together with neighbors to figure out the best way for this property to be restored. They also say they would not want to do anything that would negatively affect the community. In Abilene, with coverage you can count on, Claire Kreitz, KTAB News.
All right, thank you, Claire. As requested by the homeowners, the proposal was tabled so they can speak with neighbors and answer any questions or concerns that the neighbors may have. The Planning and Zoning Committee will revisit the proposal during its July 3rd meeting. Okay, still to come on Big Country Politics, my conversation with the Abilene Downtown manager on living in the heart of the Key City. We're back in 2 minutes from downtown Abilene.